Hi guys, Bran here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today, I wanted to cover kind of another weird statement that I've seen out there in the DVD community, a weird sentiment that continues to repeat itself over and over. When it comes to this side, we're going to be talking about Survivor things, because it's something that killers seem to take issue with, that survivors do. And we brought this up as I was on Twitter, which is a bad place you go if you want any sort of sensical takes about the video game. And somebody said, while pointing out another player, that they are a known last-second swapper. Which I found this phrasing particularly funny, because usually when I hear that kind of phrasing, it's used to talk about criminals in real life. Oh yeah, he's a known felon. That's kind of like what came to my mind. It was like, oh yeah, that guy's a known felon. You better watch out for him. You know, but they used it for something as like interestingly non-threatening as last second swapping. So I kind of wanted to tackle the sentiment of last second swapping, and is this truly something that is toxic in the game, and why people think that, and my take on it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So last second swapping, the reason people gripe about it is because it introduces a item into the match very last second, and you do not have the ability to adjust your build accordingly. Obviously, if somebody, last second swaps to like a medkit or a toolbox, that's extra gen pressure and that's extra heal pressure added onto the match that you didn't have time as killer to adjust to at all. So you feel like you're going to be introduced to a sweatier match basically out of nowhere, which can feel very frustrating, especially when those items are typically stronger, like something like a ranger medkit or something like an engineer's toolbox with a brand new part and stuff like that. Like those sudden swaps can be incredibly frustrating to a killer, because they suddenly have to play differently and they did not have the time to adjust their perks or build or map offering accordingly. Now, the main thing that I see usually people use last second swaps for is flashlights. Because usually, for some reason, flashlights are still mostly seen as this incredibly negative and toxic thing in the Dead by Daylight community. I've made my own video talking about how I don't prefer flashlights anymore just because of the buffer. Flashlights in general are not nearly as strong as a good medkit or a good toolbox, and I'll stand by that until the cows come home. Like, like a good medkit or a good toolbox will always be way better than a flashlight, but it is still a highly, held perception by the killer community that, flashlights are really strong, and flashlights are really toxic to bring into a match. So that's why killers get upset about last second swapping. It's because they feel like they don't have the ability to really adjust to some very strong change in the game flow that's about to happen, just happening last second, and they don't have the ability to switch on the dime. Now, is that true? Not really. You have the ability to camp, tunnel, slug, use basement. You have a lot of catch-up tools as killer that you can use to circumvent items, even if it comes down to just fighting the person that last second swapped and chasing them exclusively so they don't get to use their item as much. There are plenty of things that you can do that, you can amp up your sweat mid-match as killer. There's not so much of that on Survivor. You can do really annoying things like Shift W, pre-dropping. Those are like the sweatier, safer things you can do on Survivor. But in terms of, Survivor gameplay, there's not really a way to amp up your gameplay mid-match, especially if you're not in a full stack. You can't shift the intensity of the way you play. So I feel like killer has a lot of tools, like I said, camping, tunneling, plugging, basement, the things that you can do mid-match if you see somebody last second swap to kind of, exert that pressure back. Because if that's the theory we're working with, is that last second they've added pressure to the match by having a medkit, by having a toolbox they didn't have before, you can deliver that pressure back by making gameplay choices in the middle of the game that, essentially catch that pressure for you, even though you didn't have the ability to maybe, adjust your build to counteract them. So I want to tackle, lastly, before we, depart this topic, I want to tackle this lastly, the idea that it's toxic. Like, is it sweaty? Perhaps. I don't think last second swapping to a flashlight is sweaty. I think that's you just trying to avoid, Franklin's. I think last second swapping to like a medkit or a toolbox, especially depending on what's in it, could be a very perceptively sweaty thing. 100%. 100%. But to perceive it as toxic, that is, in general, I think that toxicity as just a concept in the DBD community is incredibly overused. It's something that I play a lot of other games. I play a lot of games besides Dead by Daylight. I've talked to you guys about, my past in fighting games. I talked about how I play Siege a lot. I play fighting games and FPSs on the side. That is something that I do. And especially when it comes to FPSs are a cesspool of toxicity. You guys think that you live in a world where DBD is quote unquote toxic. DBD is not toxic, friends. You don't go through every single match having to report somebody for slurs. That is not an experience you have in this game. Every once in a while, I'll have somebody say something off the wall, like, I hope that your family perishes because, you played sweaty in a match. Sometimes I get that, but that's like once a month, once every 2 or 3 weeks. When I play FPS games, I'm getting told to go on to live myself like every 1 or 3 matches. Every 1 out of 3 matches, somebody's saying a slur, somebody's insulting somebody is giving threats. Like, TBD is not in a place where it is even close to toxic, like one of the most toxic games on the market. Like, not even remotely close. And we're not even including something I haven't played in forever, like MOBAs. MOBAs also have really, really intense toxicity. Like, really, really intense toxicity. TBD is nowhere near that level. Nowhere near that level. So I just find it funny in perspective when somebody equates something as serious as, like, toxicity in other games where it's coming down to like slurs, insults, threats, and kind of equating that to a person in the last 7 seconds swapping to an item. That's what you consider to be something that is hurtful and harmful to the community and to another person, is swapping to an item last second? That's what you consider to be, like, personally harmful or toxic. Brother, I have bad news for you. If that's what you consider harmful or toxic, you haven't been to other games. And if you have, you've just somehow conveniently forgot that. Like, that is in no way a personal slight against anybody that you bring an item last second. Even if they are doing it to be sweaty and to try hard, it is not a personal attack on you behind the screen. Even if they bring it to try hard to make you miserable, it is not. It is not a personal slight on the person on the other side of the screen. And I am just... Why am I in a place where I have to say this? It's 2023. TBD has been out for a very, very long time, and so has last second swapping. Why do I have to tell grown adults, because they're not kids, grown adults, that swapping to an item within a 7-second period where you don't get to really react to it is not a personal attack on you? What level of maturity are you at that you don't understand that last second swapping to something isn't a personal attack? I don't know. I don't know how you've made it this far in your life without this level of emotional maturity, but you need to get it, because last second swapping is not toxic. It is not. It may be sweaty depending on the item, but it is not toxic, and you need to get over yourself. I can say that with a lot of things in this game. But yeah, you need to get over yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I think that fully covers that topic. Yeah, last second swapping, can it be sweaty? Yes. Is it toxic? Definitely not. That's my take. What do you guys think? Do you think that last second swapping is a toxic thing? Let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Other than that, that's it. That's all I got. Hope I'll see you tomorrow. But if I don't, well, I'll see you when I see you, buds. Goodbye.